As I left the office building, the sinking sun cast long shadows across the empty streets. The usual bustling cityscape was eerily quiet, with only the distant sound of a car horn breaking the silence. I pulled my coat tighter around me, trying to ward off the chill that seemed to seep into my bones. The walk home from work was always a lonely one, but tonight it felt even more unsettling. The street lights flickered ominously, casting flickering shadows that seemed to dance and sway with a mind of their own. I quickened my pace, eager to leave the desolate streets behind me. As I turned a corner, I caught a glimpse of movement out of the corner of my eye. My heart skipped a beat as I saw a figure standing in the shadows, watching me intently. I tried to convince myself that it was just a trick of the light, but the feeling of unease lingered in the pit of my stomach. I hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to do. Should I confront the figure, or pretend not to see them and hurry past? Before I could make a decision, the figure stepped out of the shadows and into the dim glow of the streetlight. It was a woman, her face obscured by a hood pulled low over her eyes. She stood there, unmoving, as if waiting for me to make the first move. I felt a shiver run down my spine, a sense of dread creeping over me. I tried to walk past her, to ignore her presence and continue on my way home. But as I passed her, she reached out and grabbed my arm with a strength that belied her slender frame. Her touch was cold, almost chilling, and I felt a surge of panic rise within me. "Who are you?" I demanded, trying to sound brave despite the fear that clenched at my throat. The woman didn't answer, just continued to stare at me with those empty, shadowed eyes. I could feel the hair on the back of my neck standing on end, a primal instinct urging me to flee. I wrenched my arm free from her grasp and broke into a run, my heart pounding in my chest as I sprinted down the empty streets. I didn't dare look back, didn't want to see if she was following me. I just kept running, my breath coming in short, ragged gasps. Finally, I reached the safety of my apartment building and stumbled inside, slamming the door shut behind me. I leaned against it, trying to catch my breath and shake off the lingering sense of unease. I told myself it was just a random encounter, a strange and unsettling moment on an otherwise ordinary walk home from work. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more sinister at play, something lurking in the shadows just waiting to pounce. As I lay in bed that night, the memory of the woman's cold, shadowed eyes haunted my dreams. I tossed and turned, unable to shake the feeling of unease that clung to me like a second skin. In the morning, as I walked back to work, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. I glanced over my shoulder a dozen times, half expecting to see the hooded figure following me. But the streets were empty, the shadows silent. I tried to tell myself it was all in my head, a trick of the mind brought on by exhaustion and fear. But deep down, I knew that something had changed that night on the walk home from work. Something had shifted, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that something sinister was lurking just out of sight. And as I walked the familiar route back to work, the sense of unease only grew stronger, casting a dark shadow over what had once been a routine part of my day. The walk home from work would never be the same again.